So, yep, thank you very much for coming on October Red Interviews. It's a pleasure. Before we get into any questions, I just need you to introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about who is Super Youssef Khoumari.
So yeah, like you said, I'm Super Youssef Khoumari. I'm from Wembley in London. I'm currently 11 wins and 1 draw as a professional. I've been boxing about 14, 15 years. Started boxing maybe, I think when I was 9 or 10 or something like that. It's been a while that I've been boxing. So I had a very long amateur career. I was amateur for about maybe 10 years, 10, 11 years, if I remember properly, and managed to get in 40 fights. Won a couple titles as well. I think I won the London ABA title as a junior. I won the London Southern Area title as a senior. And I won a Haringey Box Cup gold medal. So I got them titles. I turned pro in 2017. I've got 11 wins under my belt. I managed to box for the English title. And yeah, onwards and upwards from here. I mean, 2021, we're out to dish out some smoke. I'd always been a fan of Manny Pacquiao. Me being originally from the Philippines on my mum's side, I've always been a big Pacquiao fan.
Yeah.
And I used to watch Manny Pacquiao, and I thought, you know what? One day I was in the Philippines watching one of his fights, and I said, you know what? When I get back home, I'm gonna give this a go. So I come back to London, went into my first boxing gym, and then since then, just the journey started. Boxing's been my life since that day.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So you're from the Philippines originally?
Yeah. So on my mother's side, I'm Filipino, and then on my dad's side, I'm Moroccan.
Wow. Okay. So the fight style then, you said that you went into martial arts in the beginning. Philippines, your mum's style. That's where you were born and bred. You went into the gym at 10. What influenced you to go into the gym so early for fighting?
Like I said earlier, I was doing the martial art.
Yeah.
And I sort of got to a stage doing that where, you sort of hit a wall where I felt there was more I could do.
Yeah.
But the martial art couldn't really take me there because it was so non-contact. And, I just thought, there must be more. There must be something out there. There must be something more out there for me to go and do.
Yeah.
And that what really pushed me to boxing. I was already interested in boxing. My dad always taught me about Muhammad Ali when I was younger.
Yeah.
He bought me Muhammad Ali DVDs. So I still got the DVD actually, the George Foreman fight, all the Fraser fights. So I'd known of boxing. And then, when the connection to Manny Pacquiao and all that, I said, you know what, boxing, I'm going to give this a go, It wasn't a thing where I immediately thought I'm going to go to the boxing gym and that's it. This is going to be me.
Yeah.
I thought I'm just going to go in there and give it a go and see what happens. And, as soon as I did the first session, I said, yeah, I'm coming back.
Wow.
And then that was it.
So
I was in the gym 3 times a week until forever.
Yeah. So you was in the Philippines. So when did you move to the UK?
I was actually born in the UK.
Right, okay.
But my mum always took me back and forth because, I've got a lot of family still back there. So just to keep the connection of the culture and that. So it was actually, I think when I actually saw that fight, I think I was there for a month that time.
Yeah.
So I was just there for the whole month. And when I came back, I said, yeah, I'm going straight to the gym, and then boom.
So that's
journey started from there.
So you made the transition to boxing. So when you were in obviously the UK gyms, you started your boxing over here. Tell us a little bit about that journey for you going into, okay, I've turned up at the gym. Now let's talk about going to amateur.
All right, so I first started at the All-Stars Boxing Club, which is on the Harrow Road in London.
Yeah.
You know what? The first month I'd say was, I found it hard. Never did I feel like I didn't want to continue, but I found it hard. I think, the coach we had at the time was very strict to the point where he'd show you something once, and if you didn't get it that first time, you get a bollocking.
Yeah.
So, I had to adjust coming from martial art where everything's very peaceful and, that sort of thing, going into a boxing gym where this is how you do it, and if you don't do it, you're this and you're that.
Yeah.
I had to really adjust. So I found it hard for the first month, but once I got my groove and I started enjoying it a bit more and understanding what it is I needed to be doing a bit more.
Yeah.
It just flowed like water, you know. I just was in the gym. You know, it's like a thing where I didn't even think about it anymore. It just became part of my routine. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was in the boxing gym.
Yeah.
And then just went there. I think I had my first fight. I can't remember exactly. I think it must have been around 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
I had my first amateur fight. I remember being so nervous in the changing room before, to the point where I couldn't do pads with my coach at the time.
Wow. Talk to me about that.
He was just like, the whole week I was just nervous. I mean,
yeah.
I was just, it's excitement and nerves together. So I was excited to fight.
Yep.
But then I was nervous because it was my first fight and all that. And I told a lot of people, a lot of my friends came, a lot of my family came, and I just didn't want to embarrass anyone and let anyone down. You know, my coaches worked so hard to get me ready. So yeah, you know, I was so nervous in the change room before. I couldn't really do pads. I was so stiff.
Yeah.
And then to get to the ring,
yeah,
because the show was actually in the gym where I trained. So to get to the ring, you had to walk up a flight of stairs.
Did you trip up?
Yeah, I tripped up the stairs because my legs were just so stiff. I couldn't, my body wasn't working properly. I don't know.
I hear.
I got up the stairs, but you know, like everyone says, once the first bell goes, it all leaves you and you just get back into what they were telling you in the corner and that sort of stuff. But yeah, the build up to that fight, you know, the nerves really got to me.
Yeah, but it's breaking that seal, isn't it? I can kind of like relate to that because I box a little bit, but I've never had a fight. And I've always like, it was going to be white collar for me. I'm old, I'm past it. But my trainer's like, it's like, then it's the nerves that will get to me. It's not the fact that I can't do it. It's the fact of having them nerves. And so you're telling me this and you think I'm laughing at you. No, I'm not. I'm actually thinking I'd be the same. It's just breaking that seal. But like you said, the bell goes and then you're in the fight. So about that first fight that you had, talk to me about that.
Yeah, I remember, man. I got in the ring, right?
Yeah.
And there was this short, kind of hench, stocky guy across the ring, just staring at me with this evil. He just looked like he had evil intent. And you know, that didn't help the nerves that I already had. So the nerves I had kind of tripled. But you know, my coach in the corner was very calm. He just said, "Listen, you've put in the hard work in the training. Just go out and enjoy yourself." So, you know, the bell went.
Yeah.
You know, all the nerves left and I just got down to work. I managed to win the fight on a unanimous decision. I nearly collapsed because I was so tired after. I don't think I got up. I got to the change room and I just fell on the mat. And I think I stayed there for like half an hour, 45 minutes. I didn't move. It got to the point where my coach said, "Listen, you need to go." Do you know what I mean? You can't just stay here all the whole show. Get up and get changed and go. I was still in the kit for about 40 minutes. I was so tired. But yeah, that was the first fight. After that, it was just, you know, I just loved the sport even more after that. I just wanted to fight again and again and again. And yeah, the journey, that was the start, the real start of the journey, the real start of my love for boxing. And I was going to say that at them ages, a fight like that where there's maybe 20, 30 people in the arena or in the venue, to everyone else who's been in boxing a long time, it's just another fight. But to me at the time, it was a world title fight.
Of course it is. It's your first fight.
It was a world title fight to me, yeah. Like I was coming out and it's like, I thought to myself, it's like I was in the MGM Grand, you know, the O2 fighting for a world title. That's why I think the nerves were so crazy at the time. But yeah.
So your style then, I'm going to talk about your style now. I haven't seen that amateur fight. So tell me about what your fight style was like at that time, your first amateur bout.
When I first started my first fight, being very naive in boxing and that, I just thought it was about just throwing loads of punches and trying to knock people out. So what I remember thinking back was the bell went and I just threw so many punches throughout the whole fight. I tried to throw punches and not stop throughout the whole fight.
Okay.
I was just throwing punches. I developed into sort of a pressure fighter later on into my amateur career. So I used to come forward a lot. I used to get into a lot of wars. I used to get told off a lot in the gym for having so many wars. I still do now. But as I progressed and as I got better, I started boxing a little bit more. And, you know, I kind of gelled them together now. I can do a bit of boxing, I can do a bit of fighting, I can do a bit of counter punching.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, in boxing, you can't just have one game plan.
Yep.
One day you might go into a fight and fighting might not work, so you need to box, or boxing might not work, so you need to fight. So you need to have multiple game plans in your arsenal, multiple skills that you can go to instead of just having one.
Yeah. So you've gone through your amateur career and you said you had 40 fights.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, okay, you've had these amateur bouts, you're considering turning pro. What was the turning point for you to go pro?
For me, I always wanted to go pro. I always wanted to go pro. That was always my ambition from boxing when I first realized I wanted to take this seriously.
Yeah.
I'd always watched professional boxing growing up.
Yeah.
I'd always tried to emulate professional boxers that I'd watched on the TV. So going to the Olympics and that sort of path, I mean, if they offered it, I would have taken it, of course, but it wasn't something I really aimed for. I always wanted to turn pro.
Yeah.
I think the turning point for me was, it got to a point in my amateur career where I felt I was changing my style and changing what I normally do in the ring to suit what amateur judges want to see.
Okay.
And it got to the point where I'd lose 1 week for doing a certain thing. For example, I'd lose 1 week for being a pressure fighter, and then I'd win the next week for being a pressure fighter.
Wow.
So it got to the point where, I don't know what these guys want to see anymore. I might as well turn pro. I'd been in the game long enough then. So I spoke to my coach, Xavier, and he said, yeah, he's ready to go pro, and turn pro. Didn't look back.
Yeah. So your relationship with Xavier, because he wasn't your coach to start off with, when did you meet up with Xavier and then he became your coach?
I knew Xavier from a while before he started training me, because I used to see him around the circuit. His gym's also very local to where I live and to where I used to train, so he used to come down with guys for sparring as well.
Yeah.
We always got along. We were always cool, and it got to a point in my amateur career where I felt I needed to move to better myself and to keep improving. And I'd always had a cool relationship with Xavier. He's always been cool. I liked how his boxers used to look on shows when I just see them boxing. So one day I just picked up my bag and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go down to Zav's gym and see what's happening. So I took my bag, I went down there. And it just clicked, man. Me and Zav just clicked. It was easy. I just worked with him easier than I worked with anyone else.
So how long have you been with Zav?
Must have been about 5 or 6 years now, probably longer.
Wow.
Maybe 7 years.
So that's a proper established relationship then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he was there from you turning over into pro. He didn't come in on the pro scene. That's what I was trying to get different. When you turned pro, he was already your coach.
Yeah, he was already my coach. He was my coach for my last 2 years as an amateur.
Okay.
And then we went pro after that.
So tell us about your first pro fight and the difference. Like, okay, you're going from amateur to pro. Tell us about that.
You know what? The one thing I'll never forget was on my pro debut, right?
Yeah.
They sent me to the guy who was giving out the boxing gloves for the night. So I've gone up to the guy who's giving out the gloves, and he's giving me these tiny pair of Lonsdale gloves that look like they've been worn 1,000 times. I think, if I remember properly, they had blood stain on them already, and they were ripped and look all this crazy. And I looked at them, and I looked at the guy, and I went, are you sure these are the ones you meant to give me? Because they look a bit battered. And the guy's going to turn around and he's going, well, what do you want? This is it's boxing. What do you want? So I've taken the gloves and I've gone to coach as well. And I've gone, coach, look at the gloves they give me. Are these the right ones?
Yeah. And
he's gone, yeah, what do you want? It's boxing, isn't it? Because I was always the amateur before, the gloves they have in the amateurs are really padded, really big. It's like big padded gloves. So that's when I realized, right, when I used to see people getting knocked out with jabs on the TV and that sort of stuff, I used to laugh at them and think, look, you got knocked out with a jab. You can't be, you're not strong enough for boxing. But that's when I realized, listen, this pro boxing game is different. They're giving me gloves that are literally worn out, nothing on them, blood on them. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that fight then, how did it go?
Yeah, I stopped Andy Harris in 4 rounds. Andy Harris came to win that night. He came. I remember him trying to hit me with some big overhand rights.
Yep.
But I always thought to myself, you know, Zav told me in the corner in the change room before, you know, just to stay calm, keep emotions out of it, to stay focused. Because, you know, there's a lot of people there shouting and screaming, and you might get drawn into all of that. So I just tried to stay calm, not really try and look to impress too much, just stick to what our game plan was, what we worked on in the camp. And I managed to get him out in the 4th round. I reckon, had I not done that and had I just tried to please the crowd and thrown a lot of punches and tried to knock him out early, we wouldn't have got that, because the Andy Harris at the time was very experienced. I think he had 60 fights at the time. So he's probably seen that 100 times. But I think me coming in calm, relaxed, picking my shots was what made me get him out there in the end.
So we're going to talk about York Hall, because I've watched your fight with Liam Dillon. What an interesting fight that was. From the get-go, from round 1.
Yeah, proper war, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And what gets me with you is that you're really comfortable on the ropes. Talk to me about that.
Do you know, with where I got that from is I like watching a lot of old school boxing. Stuff from the 80s, sometimes the 70s. I really became a fan of James Toney.
Yep.
You know, when I was younger, I used to like watching James Toney, because his style is something different to a lot of other boxing you see. Is very different, you know. I think I remember watching a sparring video of him sitting on the ropes for the whole round.
Yeah.
And then the guys, the sparring partners, couldn't even hit him. So, you know, I tried to emulate that in my sparring. And, you know, when I get in the ropes in a fight or in sparring, I just try to stay calm and believe in my defense, you know, because I believe my defense is good enough to stay there for the whole fight and not get hit.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that fight, I think people say I was on the ropes a lot. I think I was only on the ropes for the first 3 or 4 rounds. I was very comfortable there.
Yeah, very comfortable.
Yeah, I was very comfortable there. You know, every fighter has a pattern, and once you work out that pattern, it's very easy to anticipate what they throw.
Yeah.
You know, Liam was ferocious that night. He threw like 1,000 punches the whole fight. But yeah, nonetheless, I felt comfortable there, and I reckon I can feel comfortable on the ropes against anyone, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw that because from I think it was, when was it? It was round 1, and you were topped up on the ropes, and you hit him. I think you hit him with an uppercut. He was giving you a flurry of shots, and you hit him with a neat uppercut, and he felt the power, and then he backed off. Off. And then that's when you started to come forward with the jab, but I think the round was ending. But you just seem to sit on there. You're able to trade. I've wrote some notes down, and you seem to be quite relaxed. You're very, very accurate with your shots. He was throwing loads, but you were slipping and sliding and rolling them off. But the shots that you were getting were very, very accurate. You're one of these boxers that I'll say you're able to find the angles. Talk to me about your style, because I went back to you remember your first fight, to how you are now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you sit there and you calculate and you topped up and you can find those angles, because you're a counter puncher. I would describe you as a back foot counter puncher, which coincidentally your trainers like to teach a similar style.
Mm.
Talk to me about that.
Mm. Do you know what? See, that style, when I'm on the ropes, a lot of guys, as soon as they feel the ropes on their back, they go into panic mode.
Yes.
You know, they want to go left, they want to dart right, dart left, turn, hold. But sometimes if you stay there and be relaxed, there's openings there. Some guys get you on the ropes.
Yeah.
And for some reason, for one reason or the other, they think that they've got you in a place where they can't get hit.
Okay.
So they start to offload. They start to offload punches. And
yes,
for some reason, I find it very easy. I find it easier to find holes when I'm on the ropes as opposed to being anywhere else in the ring. Because I get on the ropes,
yeah,
and then people start letting off wide shots, and I can just counter the punches and roll them and get them off the shoulder and roll underneath.
Yeah.
I find it a lot easier because they just seem to, I don't know what it is. You know, sometimes I even inspire and I take myself back to the ropes because I know they're going to do that. You know, I know it's sort of like luring them into a trap.
A trap, yeah.
So I make them think, they've got me on the ropes now. And then, you know, sometimes their coach will say, oh, I've got me on the ropes now, throw the shots. And they start throwing punches all over the place. And just find it easy to see. I can use the ropes as well as leverage. So, you know, sometimes I can lean back further than what I'd usually do because I know the ropes are there to hold me up.
Protect you,
so, you know, you can use the ropes. And it's like an old school thing. I think that those things in boxing, they don't really teach them that much anymore. I mean,
they teach you to stay
that's
off.
what makes Zav and Nick special because they're able to teach things that we don't see in boxing anymore. We don't really see someone fight off the ropes like that. It's very rare that we see it nowadays.
Yeah.
I think off the top of my head, the only one I could think of that actually stays there and fights off there is Ian Napa. I know Ian Napa used to stay on the ropes and fight off the ropes. You know, maybe used to do it a little bit, but you know, then you can count on your hand the amount of guys that can do that. So for Zav and Nick to be able to teach that, it's special.
You just seem comfortable there.
Pardon?
You just seem comfortable there. It seems like home. It's like you sat on there, and like you said, it's a trap. You're just waiting because you did some really aggressive counters, and then when you came back into the center of the ring, you did left hooks and right hooks as well, but still in your correct stance. You wasn't straight on. You were able to deliver the two hooks. So you have got a variety to your arsenal, and that was a really, really good fight to watch. I know it ended in a draw, but I'm looking and I'm thinking, how would they have judged that fight? Why would they have given it a draw? Is it because you were on the ropes? You were talking about sometimes you can go here and they say, yeah, you know, that I like that style. And then you can do exactly the same thing the week after and the score you less on it. Do you think that's what happened in that fight as well?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, for me, boxing's always been about clean punches. I was always taught from very young, boxing is about landing clean punches.
Yeah.
If you go back to when I started amateur boxing, the scoring system was different. So it was about, if you land a clean punch, that's a point.
Yeah.
It used to be that kind of scoring system. So I was always drilled to understand that boxing is about clean punches.
Yeah.
So me sitting there on the ropes and him throwing a lot of shots didn't really bother me because in my head I'm thinking, you know, the judges are going to score for clean punches. This is what I've been taught.
Yeah.
But you know, depending on which judges are there, depending on their preference as well.
Yeah.
They might have favoured the pressure, Liam's pressure that night, and giving him some of the rounds. I personally think if we had maybe American judges there that night, or maybe Mexican judges somewhere where they score for clean punches a lot more, I would have won the fight by maybe 7-8 rounds.
Yeah.
But you know, I think maybe it's the culture of boxing in the UK as well, where you know, like we saw Anthony Yard and Lyndon Arthur, and one of the judges gave the fight to Yard just on the basis of him coming forward.
Yeah, with the wide score.
Whereas he weren't landed. Yeah, exactly. He weren't really landing the clean punches. It was Lyndon, but so you know, boxing has always been like this. It's always been like opinionated. It's gonna keep going on like this. There's always fights where we're gonna argue one way or the other. It's just part of the game. I mean, for me, what I can do is learn from it.
Yep.
Learn from what happened. you know, maybe stay off the ropes a little bit more, maybe be a little bit more aggressive to show the judges more they want to see. But yeah, I just have to learn from it, go back to the drawing board and come back stronger, which is what I will do.
Yeah. So in preparation for your fights, what type of fighters do they get in to prepare you for yours?
I normally spar regardless of if I have a fight coming or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I might not spar as often,
Yeah.
but in that time where there's no fight coming up,
Yeah.
we try and spar any style and as many styles as possible, pretty
Yeah.
much, just to work on things because it's boxing. You know, you never know. You might never know you might have had someone scheduled for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then something happens, the guy pull out. We see it a lot nowadays with the coronavirus. You know, people are testing positive and having to get someone new in. So we try and spar a variety of people. I mean, southpaws, orthodox, pressure fighters, counter punches, anything we can spar just to work on things that we're doing in the gym.
Yeah.
When we do have a fight though, we do tailored sparring where, for example, for the Liam fight, we did get a lot of pressure fighters into spar.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to find a lot of pressure fighters. I just try and mimic what happened in fight night in the sparring. But that's for when we got a fight day and an opponent there ready to go. Like for example, like now where everything's up in the air, the sparring we were doing about maybe 2-3 months ago, we were just sparring everyone and anyone, just to work on southpaw, orthodox, pressure, whatever it is. We're just working, getting better every day, improving.
Yeah. So fair enough. Corona's here, and we can't really do nothing about it. Are you and your team open to traveling, say, over to Mexico, over to other countries to get those, you know, those experienced spars in? So when you do go global, when you do go for those world titles, which I'm sure is your end goal, like you said, the MGM Grand, that's where you saw
100%.
Yeah. Are your team prepared to take you out there to get that experience from those fighters?
Yeah, 100%. Going to spar in America is something me and Xavier spoke about for a while.
Brilliant.
It's definitely something we're looking at doing. I think now it's just finding the right time, you know, with all this going on.
Yeah.
It's a bit difficult to travel. So, but you know, we've traveled before. We've been to Poland. We've sparred in Poland. I've obviously been to Portugal where Xav is, and I've sparred out there as well. But yeah, definitely. I've actually sparred in the Philippines as well. I went back, I think, in 2018, 2017. No, way before that. I went back in 2015, actually.
Yeah.
And I did some sparring there as well. So definitely we're open to doing that. And it's something that, you know, we've been planning for a while. I've always looked forward to going to spar in America. I always watched the videos on YouTube when I was younger, watching, you know, Doghouse in the Mayweather gym.
Yep.
And, you know, you see Wars in the Wildcard gym. And, you know, I want a piece of all that. So, you know, hopefully this COVID thing dies down and we can go out there and experience it. I agree.
Management then? Who was managing you before? Because I'm aware now that Dillian Whyte signed you. So who was managing you before?
I was managed by Steve Goodwin for 3 years.
Okay.
So Steve Goodwin was managing me for 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. And then the transition then to move over to Dillian Whyte. Tell us about what happened to create that change.
How that come about was Dillian started coming down the gym quite a bit. So, you know, I'd bump into him every now and again, you know, just speak to him at the gym and speak to him about boxing and whatnot. And then because I kept on seeing him in the gym, he started taking my corner and sparring a couple of times, took my corner and sparring. And then it come when he was doing his camp in Portugal.
Yeah.
Zav told me to pretty much to come out there and do some training. So I've flown out to Portugal, joined in the training camp, and it's just come that he wanted to manage me. So, you know, who am I to turn that down? I said, you know, I grabbed it with both hands and said, yeah, let's go. I mean, you know, I always liked it and always liked his attitude to boxing where he fights anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
He trains relentlessly regardless of what's going on. You know, maximum violence, like he says, you know, it's just, I was always a fan of that. And then to be part of that, I couldn't turn that down, you know, and I only hear good things about what he does for his fighters too. So.
Yeah, he seems to be kind of a community kind of led person. He really looks after his team, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. definitely.
What's next for Super Youssef?
We're just trying to fight. We're just trying to fight, you know. With this corona thing's made it a bit harder.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're just trying to get out there and fight and you know, dish out the smoke. 2021, that's what we were saying earlier. That's the goal for now. It's just the fight, you know, whoever it is. Yeah. I'm staying ready, you know, I'm staying fit, I'm staying ready. I'm always in the gym, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm like a fireman, because fireman, when the alarm goes off, they're ready to get the jump. Get me? They jump in that fireman suit, jump in the fire engine, and they're off to go. So that's how I see what I'm doing now. I'm just like that, staying ready. When the alarm goes off, ready to fight, I'm ready to go. You know, I'm up for fighting. I'm up for fighting anyone and everyone. So he's one of the guys in my weight. If we meet, we meet. That's how it has to be. This is the hurt business, you know, end of the day. Yeah. But yeah, whoever's in front of me, whether it's, you know, I know they got Joe Cordina's in the weight now, Martin Ward, Zelfa Barrett as well. That's off the top of my head. I mean, I don't know what them guys are really doing though. Them guys, the weight division in and around our weight division now is hot. You know, we saw Ryan Garcia and Campbell the other day. I know they're the weight above, but it's similar. You got Tank, you got Lopez. There's a lot of guys about. There's a lot of big fights. If I was them, having achieved what they've achieved, you know, British title, Commonwealth title, international title, I'll be trying to get in the mix with the world with them lot. With Javonta, with Ryan, but them guys, I don't know. They're not trying to get into that mix. I don't know. They're trying to stay at domestic level for their whole career or something. I don't know what they're trying to do, but that's just me anyway. If I was them, I'd be trying to go world level and trying to challenge them guys and try to have some big fights. Yeah. But I don't know. That's their thing, man. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, if I got to meet one of them, you know, they have to hold these hands. It's just how it goes.
So the plan for you then, because you're super featherweight, aren't you, at the moment?
Yeah.
What do you want to do at your weight? And do you want to go into lightweight? Because were you a lightweight before?
Yeah, I started off campaigning at lightweight.
Right, okay.
I started off campaigning at lightweight, but they offered me the title fight at super feather, and you know, I made it. Yeah, good to go. So I can pretty much do both the weights.
Right.
Both the weights are looking. Both of the weights are looking hot right now. It's funny because when I did turn pro, lightweight and super featherweight, there wasn't really much going on, especially at the world level. But now, you know, lightweight's pretty much the hottest division in boxing. So, yes.
So that won't be a problem then for you to jump up in weight. Once you achieve what you want to achieve, you're still really young. Are you 24?
24, yeah.
24. So you got loads of boxing years left. So would you like to clean up the super featherweight and move on to lightweight, or would you still stick out the rest of your career at that weight that you are now?
I'll just see how it goes. I mean, I can do lightweight comfortably. I can do super featherweight comfortably. Yeah. You know, if it gets to a point where I feel like it'll be better for my career to move up and box at lightweight, I'll do it, whether it's my next fight or whether it's in the next 10 fights, you know. Yeah. I'm open to just doing whatever. I just want to fight. Yeah.
I get
anyway.
It. Yeah. and it's frustrating at the moment because everything's just on a standstill. But Corona out the way, let's just pretend that it's not there. How many fights would you like to have a year as a pro at your weight division?
As many as possible. I mean, you look at guys like Canelo, for example, who's had, 60 fights? Or something crazy like that, 60 fights, maybe going on 70 fights. You know, them lot will fight in, you know, every other week, I guess, to be getting to that amount of fights. Yeah. So I just want to have as many as possible. That means I can fight every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month at a time. Just get as many fights in as possible. Yeah, to get that experience off. Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And who is your biggest? I know you mentioned Manny Pacquiao, but you've mentioned a couple of other fighters. Who's your biggest influence in boxing?
Do you know what? See in boxing, I never like to say one person was my influence, because I don't believe it's good to try and emulate one person. For example, there's only one Floyd Mayweather. There's never going to be another Floyd Mayweather. There's only one Manny Pacquiao. There's never going to be another one. So it's best to work on yourself and be the best you. And how I feel is best to do that and go about doing that is taking something from every fighter.
Yeah.
So you can learn from Manny Pacquiao, you can learn from James Toney, you can learn from Dillian Whyte, you can learn from everyone. So in terms of my boxing style, though,
yeah,
you know, a lot of people say it's similar to James Toney and that sort of thing, but I believe I can learn from anyone, any of the top guys, and take things from, you know, Holyfield or whoever it is. You know, I try to take something from everyone. At the end of the day, and there's no point me sitting here lying that at 10 years old that I was moving like Mike Tyson in the changing room. Like, do you know what I mean? I was nowhere near that.
Yeah.
Punching walls and that at 13 years old or 10 years old, maybe, was it?
Chopping trees down and that. Do you know? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's true. It is true.
Yeah.
So just stay real, man. You're on a journey. You've got some talent. I watched that fight. I love that fight. I've never seen anyone sit on the ropes and just like literally just tuck up, dip. I love that. Just got him with that uppercut in his head, and he went. When you shock someone with a hard punch, you slightly they get that respect, and they're like, okay. And that's you can see it. It was lovely to watch. Because I thought at first, what's he doing on the ropes? Like, stay off the ropes. Stay off the ropes. But
that's how it was on fight night. Like all my people that came,
right,
were all screaming at me, like, because your call's very, it's very. Everyone's close to the ring, even if you're on the balcony, you're usually right above the ring. So everyone's like, get off the ropes, and it's like, I know what I'm doing, relax. Try to relax, I know what I'm doing. Yeah,
you look very relaxed, and it's like you're still quite light on your feet as well. And then it got to the point, I think Liam started to get tense, because when somebody gets tired and tense, the shoulders go up. That relaxed, that loose and heavy's gone now. It's like they're like, and that's when he started to get tired, and he slowed down. And then I saw you come into the center of the ring and don't really start to now, you're jabbing him now, you're flicking him, flicking him away. It was lovely. Really good to watch. I'm really looking forward to see what you bring. October Red on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And don't forget, at October Red, we stay ready.